Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where we have the pleasure on connecting with you. Well, we have a really cool topic today, but before we get into that, I hope you're all doing well. It is December 4th. I can hardly believe that. My family and I just celebrated a really good Thanksgiving for all those that are out there celebrating the U.S. holiday of Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great one with your family too. And if you're joining us internationally or don't celebrate that, I hope you have some good time upcoming weekend with those that you love. So we have a few different topics that have been circulating, but this is one that's been really fun to curate together. And I do say curate because while we went out, I'll explain how we got some of this information. This isn't actually what I would have, said it was the right tool. We're really trying to help you from an agnostic perspective of looking across all the platforms that are out there. So I'm going to talk about that and we'll get into this. If you have any questions, whether you're on the live webinar today, you can use the Q&A tab. We'll be monitoring that. Or if you're at the recording, and thanks for listening in on a recording, please just comment back to us on the YouTube channel and we'll make sure that we can answer. The other thing we want to do is make sure that you're aware of our last, I can't believe we're saying that, but our last planned webinar on the cadence we do every 2 weeks of the 2024 calendar year. And you should be looking forward to the 2025 calendar schedule. It's soon to be released if it hasn't already on our website. So go ahead and check there. I will put the link for the folks that are on live here, and otherwise you can reach out to ppmworks.com events and see all the latest that we have. But we are going to be looking at closing the year on a fiscal manner, so looking at more of the financial aspects on December 18th and really looking at budgets and other things. Well, that's just one key component that organizations use when they start to take a look at new tools. And we're going to get into that. I wanted to make sure that you were able to sync to our site if you haven't already. The best way to do that, not only ppmworks.com, but also is webcasts like this are recorded and they're put out onto our YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe to that. So what are we doing today? Now, again, it's really important to know that this is just December 4th, 2024. Things have changed, so we have a disclaimer that's coming up, but we want to talk about PPM tools, give a nice overview, share the knowledge that our clients and other peers, how they've gone through this process. So first thing is to understand sort of where you are in the process, and then, weigh off what we're talking about today and say, that's a really good idea, or you know what, I have a different way of doing it, and it will fortify that process for you. And then we want to open up and really welcome a online discussion. Excuse me. And that's really should be ongoing. So as the tools evolve and we get more functionality and more feature set, we should be coming back and updating this as we go through. So really understanding that. And then lastly is to provide you an outlet for that discussion, or if you have any questions on things that we're talking about today, and say, you know what, I saw that, I understand how that tool works, but what about this other tool? Let us know and we can go ahead and take a look at that. So here is this disclaimer. Everything that's going to be shared today, and we went about this in a pretty fun fashion, this webinar. So we went and got client feedback, which is really nice because we know those people. We've been working with them for years or decades, and we got their impact and really looked at their journey on how they've selected that tool. But we also, excuse me, with peers from PPM industry conferences that we've attended. And we did all this with research over the last 5 months. Again, so we wanted to make sure we were concise, we were focused, and we said, okay, what is currently out there? What's the buzz? What are some good tools that people are looking at? And again, this is within that 5-month window. Have things changed by then? Most, maybe a couple have updated or some other tool had popped up, maybe some area in AI or something else. So we're going to talk about those different, how we went about this, and also that we wanted to start first and say, if you're in a position where you're selecting a tool today, you might be just starting, you might be down that journey, wherever you are in that process, we wanted to share with you just how organizations do this. And when they bring us in, sometimes they bring us in just for the tool selection process. And we again give them advice, our recommendations, we set up different pilots for them, we work with vendors and really partner with that organization to select the right tool. So if that's what you're interested in, definitely lean in on that. But the first thing is going to be discovery work. This is something that you're going to need to do. So you're going to need to figure out from your organization, you can use a questionnaire. There's a sample screenshot right there, but you need to figure out exactly what everybody's asking for. And then you're going to, just like any project, what's within scope of this PPM tool deployment, right? If you need that link to the questionnaire, reach out to us at info@ppmworks.com or reach out directly to me. We can get you some samples there. And then a lot of organizations, the successful ones, have done interviews. So they actually go out and they go across different groups and they're going to interview. So they, is this just an IT driven? Is this R&D or research, clinical? If you're in sort of the pharma area, more manufacturing, right? So you really want to make sure, what kind of projects are we trying to tackle here? Is this just um, uh, waterfall? Is this agile? Is this a mix where we call it, hybrid or some sort of thing? And then you're going to put this in a grid somehow and really do like an analysis, what we'll show you at the end here. And we did our own based on what we were looking at. You want to reach into, if you're very educational and really get into sort of the reading part and the theory part, then yes, you want to make sure that other research organizations like Gartner or third-party consultants like us or someone else that you can lean in on. There's also groups like the Project Management Institute or Prince or something else, maybe Scale to Agile if you're into that. Make sure that you're really hearing what they say, but also take that as a point within your discussion. Don't just take that as this is what they said and this is the way we should go. You really need to keep going on here with the evaluations of the platform. And most organizations today are not is either a Google camp or a Microsoft camp. Most organizations that we work are Microsoft, so that's actually one of the first things that rules out a lot of these tools is, does it play nicely with Microsoft? How easy is it? How easy is it for you and your IT group, or maybe if you don't have an IT group, just you to implement this and support this with the Microsoft umbrella in minds there. So that might be really just that first checkbox. Once you get there, you're going to dive in with implementers. And this is really key. Who's actually going to be implementing that? So if you reach out to one of these larger organizations, do they implement it? Do they have partners that implement it? So really understanding who's going to be implementing it, or is this something that you can implement yourself? And what are the risks, okay, and benefits of those? There's always going to be trade-offs. You can see that icon up in the top right. You know, you're really trying to find the balance between, okay, we can get a lot of capabilities, maybe, as integrations high on our list, is cost or budget higher on our list, versus if we dive into one specific priority, it might be one tool versus the next. So we're going to go through a couple of those things really. The last two on this selection process is, once you down select, you're going to get demos, right? Really, I would say get demos for the tools you want to look at. There's no reason to go and research 18 tools, get 18 different demos. You're going to spend a lot of time. Dwindle that down to the 4 or 5 that you want. Get those demos, and then down select to a pilot if that's really what you need. If this is a large enterprise solution, get a pilot going. Get in there, start playing around, take 2 or 3, but usually 2, and look at them. Say, okay, we're using this, and you're getting involvement with the person that's going to implement this, hopefully for you. How's their working style? All those other ancillary things that we're not going to tick and tie on a slide today. You need to make sure that the team that you're working with is the right match. So we categorized, and again, I told you we had a team that did this. So a lot of this is their feedback, and I'm happy to see it and share it with you. Might not be the same as what I would have done if I was just ranking these personally with my 20 years of experience going across these tools as well. But there are 3 different groups. So we looked at complexity, first of all. That was probably the easiest way to look at it. And we went sort of a high, mid, and low complexity. And when we talk about complexity, we're saying within the vernacular of creating and executing, managing projects. So that was the first thing. Then we looked at the life cycle of it, and then we look at methodologies too. Can we do multifaceted? Is it just agile? Is it waterfall? And what we came up with were the top five of these. Okay, so we looked at 14 or 12 to 14 tools here, and there are plenty more, folks. Okay, but the top those five, really came in, and they were really the best candidates, if you will, for looking at portfolios or large portfolios, projects and programs, sort of that hierarchy, larger teams, responsibilities, right? Maybe cross-project independency. You want to look really at resource management and be able to see that across, and that incomplete life cycle. And that would have been, Microsoft Project, Smartsheet, Planisware, OnePlan, and Reich are really the ones that are jumped up to that level. Now, the next ones are sort of that mid-level complexity. So those would be a nice balance, actually. Maybe a smaller team, a little easier to use. A lot of these were more web-based. Quick. The look and feel is really nice. You can be able to get in there. And it's intuitive, right? Drag and drop capabilities. A lot of task. Task into project management. So that sweet spot. Some of them, we'll talk about the benefits and where they fell short. They couldn't do everything, right? Just like any of these tools, if you look at it, most of them, the ones that are up, you're going to see that they can do a lot, right? It's going to depend on, again, how you like the tool. Number one, that triangle, right? The budget is going to be a big factor, okay? And then I can't implore this enough with you folks, getting the right implementer, finding a partner, a true partner, whether it's PPM Works or somebody else that understands your business, asks the right question, and is looking out for you to implement it. The tool is only successful as the people that are going to use it and what value you're going to get. So the first thing they should be saying is, okay, let's look at what are our success criteria of implementing this? You're really like, wait, what? Why are we starting with that? You run this as a normal project. You folks have done this time and time again. You're successful at what you do. Look at this tool just like that. The last three, again, is more for quick and easy. Smaller groups, really looking for task management, drag and drop, something easy that people can use across any device. We don't need to teach them anything. They could just learn it, okay? And those were, Basecamp and Planner and, things like Trello and other things like that. So that's the genesis of what we're going to talk about. Three different categories, okay? We're going to dive into the high complexity first. We'll talk about those five. We'll talk about some use cases for each, and then we're going to close up the day and have you on your way. So the first is the higher complexity. So these tools, are really ideal, like I said, for managing those portfolios, large teams. And you can see we broke it down in three, sort of the best fit for each of these tools. I'll go through those and some key features, and then really some limitations. And the team came back and said, everybody uses Microsoft Project. We can't get away from this tool, right? It's really good for, complex projects. People in the industry that know that know project management have used probably Microsoft in one role or another. So it always keeps resurfacing. And Project Online is an enterprise solution. Now it is a little older, so that is, the limitation. It's can be, more of a steeper learning curve, and there's less, I would say, or non-existent drag and drop capability within Project Online, but you can do everything. It is a core team tool, that goes there, and you can do your Gantt charts and things like that. And then you have your newer competitors that came into the market, like Smartsheet and Reich on either side. And Smartsheet really came from our Excel heads that are out there, right? It's just that. If you ever read Smartsheet, it is a grid-like Smartsheet application that evolved into a list and different things. And then, we need to manage something and pull things into different boards. It's really kind of cool if you're, doing that. And it then kept growing and growing, like all of these tools. A lot of money was spent across all these vendors in the different areas, and they continue to grow. They do a really good job at reporting. Smartsheet does, or the ability to just very quickly turn a task into something. Very nicely done over there. Limitations might be that, again, it's more spreadsheety, or that has that feel. Those of you that have used it understand what I'm saying there. And then some folks that in our research, when we were talking to the folks at the conferences that we went to, just said, it's just not as intuitive of what the tool that I'm using, right? Or it could be a little bit improved. PlanView, one of the core tools that's out there, been around for a long time as well. Competing with Microsoft and some others. This is one of your juggernauts too. It's an enterprise solution. It goes across advanced portfolio resource. There are many different modules that are there. It aligns nicely throughout the organization. It does a great job with resources and all this. The pause there is you probably need somebody to implement it, right? With any of these, you're going to need somebody. But PlanView seems to have costs that are associated with that seem to be a little bit higher from the implementations that we've been involved with, or the ones that we actually have replaced a lot of these tools. And I'll talk to you about which tool that is that replaced it. So OnePlan and Reich. So OnePlan, I'm going to skip over that for a second. We'll talk about that at the end. But Reich here is sort of that mid-sized organization. A lot of people like this tool. It's sort of a blend of your old school project management and sort of the new lighter weight stuff. There's some nice integrations that they seem to really jump on, and it really targets some different areas. And we find that a lot of industries like it. So typically, if you're in one of those industries that's using Reich, and you move to a different role, different organization, chances are they're also going to be using Reich. It sort of stays within pockets of industries. Lastly is OnePlan. OnePlan is a very solid tool. It's been around for 10 plus years. It's built on Microsoft technology. So it is really the only tool on this slide that can integrate with all the other tools. So if that's something that you're looking to do to say, hey, I need a platform that is a PPM or strategic portfolio management solution and also allows me to work with everything that we're about to talk about: Reich, PlanView, Smartsheet, Project, Trello, Asana, Workday, Monday.com. I'll just keep going. It is the tool for you. I'll stop. So take a look at that. Now, it is what we refer to it. It is our upgrade path from Microsoft Project. So we go from Microsoft Project, and we usually look at OnePlan with organizations. If that doesn't meet our clients' needs, then we sort of look at one of these others and why. All right. So that's really the complex. Now, the business case behind these, there are several. I know this is a lot on a slide, and our team did the best job they could to get this all in here. Again, this is something for you to take. Probably not an executive slide sheet for you, but a really good reference slide. Now, there are benefits across these. Obviously, we're talking about resource management, portfolio, and financial. Very good to go across the organization if you need to dive into places. And then, integration is really high when you're talking about a robust tool, and then being able to manage the life cycle, but also collaboration and risk management and change management and all that. Those kind of tools, you're going to probably want to lean on one of these 5 that are out there. And now you can see from all the different icons as you go, if you're really into strategic workforce planning, like strategic management, and looking from, hey, is everything aligned, all current and future projects, right? You might want to lean into, OnePlan or PlanView. And this is, again, there were so many tools out there that the team did their best job and said, hey, if we had to pick 2 per area, that's what we're going to do. So that's all that's here. It's not saying that the others aren't great tools as well. But again, we had to set the bar somewhere and say, hey, listen, if we can have the cheat sheet and we want our listeners to go in there and really see what things led, here they are. So you can look back through here. A lot of good tools back and forth on all these. But if you really are going to look at your requirements and the top 3 things fall, check this out. Okay, just go back and look and be like, hey, here's another research point that we have to make sure that we're in line to really down select some of those tools. Okay, and you can see across the board, I think the major logo on here, the theme here is usually the OnePlan or Microsoft Project. Planisware is big too. So I'd say between the 2, now looking at this, it'd be those 2 are really the top competitors there. Now we switch and look at the mid complexity. If you're like, hey, you know what? We're not doing enterprise stuff. That was really good to know, but this is really where my organization is going to fill. Now, again, it if you're in a mid-size organization, I would still recommend look at those other tools. You don't have to roll out all the functionality, okay? But if you're looking at things like this, and you're looking for that balance, really easy to use, suitable for smaller, mid-sized teams, here are some really good options for you. And they start with, Jira, which also has a really complex backend, but Jira again is really known for agile. So if you have a development, so you have Jira, the Microsoft tool that's out there is ADO. It's Active Direct. So that ADO versus Jira is really your choice on what provider you want, but it's really going to do this similar thing: agile builds, looking at epics and different things like that, getting into feature sets and really development. So it's really good on that. Folks that use Jira really love it. Some people say it's a little complex to get into, and for non-technical people, it's sort of like, whoa, why are we going down through all this detail? But those folks that are actually producing and like the detail, Jira is really good. Monday.com, a little lighter on the organization. It's a relatively newer, and I say that because all these have been around for a while, but newer player to the market with Asana as well. But Monday, if you haven't seen an ad, that means you're probably not watching something online, because they have done a great job of ad, you know, putting ads all over the place. You're looking for something on project, boom, Monday comes up. So they are really pushing this out to the end users. It's a lightweight, very quick, customizable tool to use. It does a lot of great things well. Okay. It doesn't dive deep enough for me to make it to, and our team to make it to that next level. Right. But if you're not looking at enterprise portfolio management or enterprise resource management, maybe this is great for you. And potentially Monday might grow into that area. They're just not there yet. It can be a little bit overwhelming if you just started it. There's a lot of things, coming at you. Whereas, just a clear area was one of the biggest feedbacks that we had. That homepage thing was a little too busy, but it's there. It's a good tool. ClickUp. Going into ClickUp, this was a newer one for me. I've never used it before. The team went out and researched. We talked to others. So again, all around really good task management. If you're pulling tasks rather than using Excel and Teams and all these other things, if you're not using the Microsoft tool, which is Planner at the end here, you can use something like ClickUp. It's can be a little bit busy for some folks, but it does really well with dashboards and bringing data to the foreset and really making sure people set goals and achieve those goals. So a really good tool there too. Asana, newer, again, they've been coming in from the like a task way. So getting teams to do work, it's great. We first heard about this, our marketing group used it and said, hey, we really want to, something like Asana. And we brought them back into Planner. Now they love Planner. But again, a good tool all across the board. There's some automation. There's good for task dependencies, like all 5 of these. And the 5th one, which has been touted by Microsoft for a long time here, is this transition to Planner. Okay, it's called the new Planner. It is a paid version, but you're really taking things from Project for the Web, or people that used to do project management, and you're putting it into the Planner wrapper. So it's quicker, easier, drag and drop. So this is sort of almost that enterprise solution of Project Online. When I say almost, it's just not doing a few things like the enterprise resource management, right? It's going to be growing, and they're trying to get there. They just added programs and portfolios to the solution. So the roadmap's really bright for Planner, but if you're looking today only, it would really fall in this mid-level area as a solution. Now, I've been going strong here. We're going to talk about the use cases for this. We're going to talk about the last one. Then I really want to spend some time on the entire comparison of all, so you can see that. But the medium complexity here, if you take a look going across here, this is really a scatter chart. Depending on what exactly you're looking for, you might want to double click or knock on one of these and really dive into it, in particular those areas. The last is the lower complexity ones. Maybe you're just looking for something that you are considering a PPM tool, but it's going to be really quick and easy, focus on task, work management, really simple task management and workflow. If you start there, good for smaller teams, very straightforward, going from right to left, we'll give Trello. So Trello's simple Kanban boards, very easy, drag drop, really fun little tool there. It doesn't have advanced features. Any one of these, it sort of can get you to the point. Um, Planner, free version, that's a pretty good thing to have. That's out there. So if you have Microsoft in your organization, pop up Planner, see what it does. There's a lot of great things that it can do. And then Basecamp as well, another one that's out there that we heard that many people use in different industries. But again, and sort of takes the next level, a little bit more project management there in Basecamp. People say that, the advanced features that they're looking for just aren't there enough when they're trying to do project tracking, some other things. But if you're looking at these three, I would probably recommend go across, but check out the free planner one. Chances are it probably can do everything else the other two can. It's just a different flavor. It looks a little different because it's a Microsoft tool. If you haven't seen it, it's great. It's also not the old planner that you had. So there's actually some newer features there. The use cases for that, again, really easy use. Low cost is a big one, or free if you have Microsoft Enterprise. And then it's very quick and easy. You don't really need an implementer to go off and do this. You can do it on your own. You can get things started. And then when you get to a point like, oh, I need a little bit more help, then you can reach out to somebody. But pretty easy to dip your toe in the water. Now, our team, kudos to them. Heather, that led this as well, really took all this information and put it onto one area. And, if you're looking across, hey, if we're just looking across these, 9 different areas that we talked about today, who are sort of the ones that we should sort of look in a little bit more? And we added a couple more roles. One was, columns, which was the big thing today is, make sure that I can do resource and Gantt charts and all that other stuff. But we should take that and say that's the minimal it should do, right? If you're looking on here and something doesn't do well with budgets, you know, again, you can challenge the team's findings, but it probably didn't do it, like it should. It maybe had an area to put costs in, but it's not really doing forecasting and budget planning like we know it. Okay. And then we added in AI. So AI is a big one. A lot of folks have it, just a few don't have it out there. But you want to make sure that, you're using the tools. You can have all that data there, but, just every week I'm, just sort of step back and go, oh my gosh, this helped me tremendously, like creating, even creating slides like this or creating, content for information. AI is really helpful out there. You can't always trust it, but that's what you are for, the project manager, to really take it to the next step. And one that we were asked for a lot, that a lot of organizations started, and I mentioned at the top of the hour, is the integration with Microsoft. A lot of people say, we are a Microsoft shop, it must integrate. So a lot of these tools can blend nicely right in there. Things like OnePlan can actually go right within Teams, so you don't even know that it's that tool. You just think it's Teams doing all this great stuff. So again, take a look at all of these. Make sure you really understand what you're sort of looking at and going for. I'll be around for a bit to answer some questions, but I do, again, another plug for our YouTube. Make sure you go out there, take a look. There's a bunch of great things out there. If you don't see what you're looking for, let us know. We'll do another webcast, or maybe we'll work with your organization. We can do a direct webcast just to you, talking on couple topics. If it's something like this, you want more exploration into particular tools and you want to talk about a few, let us know. We can jump on a call and absolutely help you out there. What I would offer up, and our team does all the time, is our different workshops. You could see sort of the organizations and the tools that we have had success in implementing. We are a Microsoft shop here. We're a gold partner of Microsoft and a premier partner of OnePlan. Across those boards, those are typically what we implement. If it's one another tool that you just want our advice on, absolutely ready to help you. If you go forward with one of those other tools, we'll point you in a direction of a partner that can help you out as well. So if you have any information or questions on that, reach out to us at info@PPM Works. Now, I do enjoy hearing from all of you, so go ahead and link in. Here's my direct LinkedIn. You can go and connect with me. You can see what we're doing. We try to, put up interesting topics and little different knowledge that we share either through our LinkedIn or our YouTube site that's out there. So I want to end on today and just say, thank you very much for your time. It's always a good pleasure, hearing back from you, hearing the feedback. On behalf of all of us at PPM Works, we hope that your journey of selecting a tool is rewarding, meaning you find something, but also make it fun. This is going to be a tool that you're going to grow with. It's going to make you look better from whatever role that is. So go back to those slides and look at those use cases and say, really, where am I? If you've already taken that journey and you're already going down and you need help implementing, reach out to us as well. If we can't do it, we'll point you in the right direction. If it's something that we're not used to, we're not going to do it. We'll point you in a direction of a trusted partner that we work with for another tool that's out there. Folks, you have yourself a great day. It is December, getting a little colder up here in good old New England, but I hope you and your family have a wonderful week. And we look forward to seeing you in a week for our next webinar. Have yourself a great day. I'll talk to you soon.